Hello everyone, welcome back to Center Stand Mechanics. My name is Kyle, and today I've got a specific topic video for the 1991 Venture Royale, and it's to do with the air suspension controller. I've already fixed the problem, but I'm going to take it apart and show you what I had to do to fix it, and hopefully it'll help. Okay, so here's the little unit here. They're calling it the computer leveling air suspension system, and you need this to adjust the the pressure in the front and the rear suspension, so you can kind of level out the bike depending on what kind of a load you got and passengers and how much gear you got and stuff. And so it hides under here. I got this thing loose here because I was changing the battery. I'm just going to pull that off. I don't think you need to take it off, but I'm just pulling it out of the way. So I'm just turning the handlebars all the way to the left, and there's a little push tab here. You just pull this off, flip it over. I've got myself a 7mm socket, and you probably pull this plug right out first here. And there's two little leads here. This is for the light. There's a little blue light that lights up. So once you get that off, you can just undo these little nuts. You kind of got to close it all the way, and then you can lift this out, and there it is right there. So I'm going to take this inside and I'll show you how I fixed it. Okay, so I'm inside the shop now, and so basically what was happening is I turned the bike to accessory, which is how you air up your suspension. It doesn't work on run, you have to have it on accessory. And so you turn it on accessory and it would flash up an air code like an E4 or an E1. Mostly it was E4, but every now and then it would go E1, and it would just keep cycling through like there was something wrong, and it just wasn't working. So and I was like, oh man. So I looked up online and started reading through forums and stuff, and guys were talking about this connection here. This plug goes to a circuit board inside. Some of the solder connections are faulty, or could be faulty, and to check them. And so that's what I ended up doing, but I'll show you how I got it all fixed here. So pretty simple. There's this little clip here. It's like a little pressure clip. You just pop it off like that. It comes right off. There's two screws, probably JIS screws. It comes out here. And then this thing lifts off like so. And then here's the circuit board. So you got 4 screws to undo this circuit board. I'll take them out. I'll keep them separate from the other ones. It's pretty obvious that they're different, but yeah, so you take those 4 screws out, and then there's like a multi-pin plug here, and you just kind of, oh yeah, you pick it off, you kind of lift up the front, kind of wiggle it out, and then it comes out. And then here's your little board. So here's the plug, and at first glance you don't really see much, but I'm gonna get my magnifying glass. I don't know how this is gonna look on camera, but you look at all the solder connections, and at first I didn't really see anything wrong, and you might too. And you look at it, and you go, I don't really see anything wrong with that. But what you want to do is hold the thing like this and start looking at, so you've got, there, it's hard to hold with. So you got, here's your connections for your multi-plug here, and then you got everything else on the circuit board beyond that. And what I did is I was looking at these connections and then looking at the other ones, and then I started comparing them to each other. And the majority of the connections that are good look different, or they looked different than the ones on the plug. Like, they shouldn't look different, but they did for some reason. I was like, what's going on? And that's when it struck me as there might be something wrong, but I still couldn't see any cracks or anything like that. But the solder joint, like all the solder joints on the rest of the board, look really nice and uniform, like a nice little droplet, whereas these ones, there was hardly any solder on them, and you know, it mostly just looked like the you know, the little peg coming through. And I was like, oh, they're different, they look different. So what I did is I just got my soldering gun and dropped a little bit of solder on each one of these little connections, and then, yeah, put it all back together, and voila, it worked. So if any of you guys are out there having these error codes on these computer controller units for these bikes, try just resoldering these ones. So I'm talking about these ones here, like this one, 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 this one. Yeah, be careful not to overheat them, and because you'll mess up the, you know, the board. You don't want to do that. So you got to be careful. So you kind of hold your soldering gun there, heat it up, and it starts to smoke, drop a little bit of solder, and then move to the next one, and move to the next one. If you're holding it on there too long, you might be heating the whole thing up too much, and you might melt the board. So, and if you're not comfortable with it, I'd take it into an electronic shop. I'm sure they would just resolder all these, no problem. It wouldn't cost very much. I don't know if you can get these again. Probably kind of obsolete. So, you know, short of changing all the suspension, I don't know what you would do if you couldn't get this going. So I was pretty happy to make it work. So, and that's why I made this video, because I thought, you know, it might help someone get their bike going. Anyway, so I'm just going to put this together. Pretty easy. Just slide this on, and then it should click into place like so. And then you put your 4 little screws on. So that's for the error codes E4 and E1. Don't know what they mean. I didn't even bother looking them up. I just knew that they were some kind of error. Pretty simple to do, and you know, it's not that big a deal. And then you just pop this thing back on like so. There's 2 more little screws in here. tighten it, guys. It'll snap stuff. And then there's this little clippy thing. So it kind of hooks on here. And then kind of snaps over. And then there, that's all there is to it. Yeah, so just feed the wires in there. Check, there's a little rubber gasket around here, make sure it's straight. And then just kind of drop it in. And it has to be all the way in before you can open this up, because it just skims past here, so you don't want to break this. And then go open it all the way, and then just put your nuts back on. Take your 7mm socket driver, snug those up. Doesn't have to be crazy tight, just finger tight. You can break this plastic so easy. And then you gotta reach down in here and find your leads. There's one. Okay, so they're color coded. You got black and red, so just put them back to the same. So black and then red. It's just lighting up a little blue light bulb. So those ones are hooked up, and then you got your multi-pin. It's got the little keeper clip up top. You just pop that in, wiggle it into place. There you go. And then I'll go get my key and we'll turn it on and make sure it works. Now you put it onto accessory. That's how this works. It's got to go to accessory, right? And then that powers everything on. And then so you got auto, and you can switch it to manual. And then once you're on manual, so you got these two buttons here, and I think this one's front. So yeah, it goes to front. And then you got up, like air in and air out. So you go, you hear the compressor running. And this one, I believe it goes up to like 21. Yeah, it stops at 21. So that's the front. Now if I want to do up the rear, just hit this button, it switches over to the rear. And you can hear the compressor running. Now I'm airing up the rear. And if you want to let air out, you just hit this one. You can hear it pissing out. And the numbers are going down. Oh, I want to let some out on the front. Just switch it to front. And then you can let the air out on the front. Now if you switch it over to auto, so the front, these buttons kind of change. Now you got low, medium, and high. So let's say we'll put it on auto, we'll hit low, and it'll set it to the default low setting. So that's 11 pounds. Let's say, oh, let's switch it to high, and then I'll air it up to the high setting. Well, let's go medium, so it'll bleed off some air. So there you go. And then, oh, let's do the rear. Let's go to medium on the rear, so it's bleeding off the air to 42. Oh, let's load up the bags, and we need a little more, so we go to high, and it'll air it up and set it automatically. And there, so that's high. Oh, you dropped off your passenger and all your gear. Let's go back to low, and it'll bleed it all off. And you can hear the air pissing out. I don't know if you can hear that. It's kind of hard to hear, but anyways, so that's it in a nutshell. So let's go to medium setting for the rear. And then we'll switch it over to the front. We'll go medium setting. It's already pretty much there. There, done deal. So that's that. Yeah, so not too hard to figure out. So you just got to get out the soldering gun and just sort of redab those terminals. Anyways, yeah, I really hope this helps, and I want to thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more videos on this 91 Yamaha Venture Royale. We'll see you again real soon. Center Stand Mechanics out.